Tuomas, how Don Rosa's book inspired you?
It had such a huge impact on me on every level. I think it was the best piece of fictional story ever written. It was so incredibly funny, so touching, and there was some beautiful philosophy involved as well. So I was totally hooked from the beginning, and already at that point I knew that I have to turn this into some kind of an album at some point. It only took 14 years, but nevertheless.
You have said that when you read it, that you kind of started to hear music inside you. Is that how you kind of usually create your music?
Pretty much so, yeah. I mean, I read The Lord of the Rings like every 2 years, and I hear music in my head whenever I read that as well. But with this particular book, it was like exceptionally loud, so I really needed to get it out. But yeah, it's the same sort of thing happens whenever I write music.
Question for you, Don Rosa. What was your first impression of Tuomas?
I first met Tuomas at it was a press conference. He, I guess, got an appointment during the press conference. So this fella comes in for just 5 or 10 minutes, and he tells me who he is, and I've never heard of Nightwish, and I've heard him tell the same story, that he could tell by the expression on my face that I was just a little puzzled and dubious about the whole idea. And I figured I'd never hear from him again, but I told him, oh, that's nice, you just keep me updated. But about, I guess, 2 years later, I heard from him again, and he said, the music's all written, and it's going to be recorded. He's got the recording session all set in London, and at this point I'm thinking, oh, he's actually done it, so I'm not going to like it. But I'll pretend like I like it, and if I ever hear it. And then what's the next thing that happened is he invited me over to appear in some scenes for the music video. And at that point, I visited the studio, and he played 2 or 3 of the tracks simply in their, what he described as unfinished version, unmixed. And it was nothing like what I expected. It sounded just like movie soundtrack. Well, I have to back up first of all. That's one of my main hobbies is movie soundtracks. And I was just sitting here listening to what he just said about how he writes even his Nightwish music. First of all, he envisions it as a short movie. To see, this is the sort of thing I would have asked him, but I'm just now finding out. So that's why this album is so perfect. But one of my biggest hobbies is collecting movie soundtracks. So for somebody to actually have written like a movie soundtrack for a movie that doesn't exist of my Life of Scrooge stories is just tremendous. I still haven't gotten used to it, but and I have no reason to say this unless it's true. When he sent me an advanced copy of the entire album. It's like I don't know if I mentioned that I wept when he played me just the unmixed versions, and it's just phenomenal. It's beautiful, and I haven't gotten tired of listening to it yet. I just think it's gorgeous, and I'm so touched and honored that to think that something I did supposedly inspired this extremely great music.